take me to places I've never been. You do things that make me a better man. And bus stops that turn into hours spent rambling on. One look and you got the best of me. 4 feet take us.
Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be all about goal setting and New Year's resolutions. So this is something that I've struggled with for a long time. If you haven't seen my other post, I'll leave a link down in the description below, but I've already talked a little bit about some of my struggles and how lost I felt when I set my goals. I just want to share a little bit about how you can set your resolutions or goals up for success. I really think it's important to kind of share our past experiences, past failures, past successes, anything to kind of help each other along on the journey. And that is what I'm going to be doing today, sharing a little bit about my past journey, things that I've learned to get to the point to where I am now. One thing I do want to share really quick before we get down into the nitty-gritty is that I understand that some of our big goals feel really challenging and even difficult to achieve. But I have to say, do not give up. Don't give up and then give yourself a restart. I have done this so many times in the past, and I have to say, the more that I quit, the easier it became. I got used to the feeling of quitting and restarting every single year, or quitting and restarting every month, and then eventually it got to quitting and restarting every week. And that's because I became so accustomed just to the feeling and always throwing in the towel when things got difficult. Do not become accustomed to giving up when things get hard. I've seen a lot of people do the same exact thing that I did, saying, I'm gonna start again on Monday, or I'll just pick it back up and start on the first day of the week. That's probably the best day. There is no suitable time to start or restart. It will never be suitable unless you force it to be suitable. We always find excuses of why something can't happen, why we can't achieve something, why we can't stick to our goals. And a lot of it is because we come up with personal excuses. I certainly did, and I've seen many other people do the same thing. And I have to say, the more that I've done this, the more I end up regretting, because I've pushed back so many of my personal goals so far already, and I've missed out on, I feel like, a lot of things. And that is really the main point that I want to share with you guys is just don't get accustomed to giving up. I have to say personally, on my deathbed, I want to say I did it, not I tried. I tried became pretty much my motto. Whenever I was ready to quit and give up, I would tell myself something in order just to feel comfortable, to feel like, well, at least I took that first few steps, when in reality, I really didn't. But I tried became my comfort phrase. So if you are like me and saying this phrase almost every year or every month after your New Year's resolutions, maybe it's time to make a reassessment. Now, I know that part might be really difficult for some people to swallow. It certainly was for me when I first started my journey and actually stopped giving myself all of those excuses. I have to admit, sometimes it was difficult, sometimes it was hard, and there were also times where I did quit, where I did give up, where I said, I'm gonna start on Monday, or I'm gonna restart again next month. It's just not suitable right now. But those are the times where you really do have to just buckle down and plow through it, because those will end up being just small blips in the overall picture. And we want to get to the end goal, our end overall picture, how we see our life when we get old. And that is why we need to set up our goals in such a way that we can succeed. Year after year, I always set the same goal of just weight loss. That's it. I never got down to the smaller details of how am I going to achieve it? What am I going to do? What am I going to change? What doesn't work for me right now? And that's one of the reasons why I always failed I always ended up giving up on this goal. And what I've figured out now has helped me significantly and allowed me to reach the point where I am now. And that is what I'm going to be sharing with all of you. So now down to the smaller details. So I think one important thing that we need to change if we want to achieve weight loss is change the bigger picture from just weight loss to healthy living. So when you shift from weight loss to healthy living, you are focusing more on lifestyle choices and changes that you can change for the rest of your life. When you focus on just weight loss, typically people will lean more towards just the short-term options, the quick, something that you can always get really fast results with, but that's not something that is sustainable. Now down to the smaller details so that you can clearly see the path you'll take. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have heard of this, but I'm still gonna go into it. It is called SMART goals. When you're breaking down your overall larger goal, healthy living, then you have to get down to the nitty-gritty of some of those smaller goals. So that's where the SMART goals comes in, and you have to be specific with those smaller goals. So is it cutting out certain foods in your diet? Is it working out? Is it maybe mental health, confidence, anything that will help you get to that larger goal of healthy living? So the S in SMART stands for specific. Be specific with your smaller goals that help you achieve the larger goal. Now, this can be in the means of food. So food-wise, maybe you want to work on cutting out things that you know are not good for you. Things that you know that are holding you back from that larger goal. So for me, I had to work on cutting out pastries. I used to love pastries. I ate them all the time. I would eat them for breakfast. I would eat them for snack. Anytime I could, I would always reach for the pastries when I could. But pastries are the thing that made me pile on a lot of the weight in the first place. So I knew that I needed to work on cutting them out. I know that for some people, cutting out some of those unhealthy things might be a little bit more work, especially things that you're really addicted to, such as soda. I know a lot of people who say, I cannot live without at least 2 cans of soda a day. I'm going to continue using this example later on, so just keep that in mind. So maybe for the S in SMART, you will decide to cut out soda. And on to the next letter, M. Make your goal measurable. If it's not measurable, then you may not be able to keep track or know the direction you'll be going. So for example, I'm gonna go back to the soda one. You want to completely cut soda out altogether. So work your way down from 3 to 0. Or another one that you can do is maybe even working out. So if you have a specific goal of working out 3 to 5 days a week, then for that, how it's going to be measurable, of course, it's going to be 3 to 5 days a week, maybe 1 hour a day, 30 minutes a day for a year. So that is how it is a little bit more measurable and manageable, of course. Now for the A in SMART, your goal has to be attainable or achievable. I've mentioned this in another post, and I'm just going to quickly go over it again. You don't want to set a goal that is completely outrageous, losing 50 pounds within a month or losing 50 pounds fast. This just is not attainable for many people. But how you can change that is maybe I want to lose 100 pounds within a year. That is something that is more doable than 50 pounds in a month. So again, just don't be completely outrageous with your goals. Make sure that it's something that you can do. Now for the R in SMART. Make sure your goal is relevant to the bigger picture. Now, what I mean by this is if you have a goal, let's say of healthier living, then maybe your smaller goal that is irrelevant is figuring out how essential oils can tie into holistic living. Now, maybe for some that seems like it is relevant, depends on the person, but for me personally, I feel like that does not help me reach the overall goal. So looking at essential oils and figuring out how they work just is not relevant to my bigger picture. Now, I feel like R is really important to take into account when you're setting up your smaller goals. So even if you are specific, making sure your goals are measurable and attainable, if it is not relevant to the bigger picture, then it does need to kind of be maybe set off to the side and revisited later if you feel like it is something that is essential for you now or essential for you for something else. But if it does not tie in to the bigger goal, set it aside. It just is not as important as your New Year's resolution or your overall goal that you want to reach for a better future. Now for the T in SMART. Make sure your goal has a time restraint. I'm going to say it again because it is so important. Make sure your goal has a time constraint. Before, when I was just going in the general direction of weight loss, I never gave myself a time restraint, and that's where I really failed. By not giving yourself a time restraint, your brain is going to take it as, I still have time to do this. There's no time restriction. Other things will take priority over this because you're not giving yourself a limit. So going back to our soda example, maybe for your time restraint and smaller goals, you have a goal of cutting out 1 can of soda a week. So dwindling it down from maybe 3 cans of soda one week to 2 cans the next week, and then the week after 1 can, and by the end of the month, completely off soda and not really having it within your diet at all. And from then on, avoiding buying it again. That is the whole point. After you reach the end of the time restraint, stick with it. Do not give up. Don't go back. So with this time restraint, also make sure you won't go back on your word. So let's make 2022 our year of health and go all out for it. Also, be sure to check out my website. I'll leave a link down in the description below. There I have more posts that will help with your overall goal of living a healthier life, because there I share my own experiences, things that I've learned on my own journey, and I do hope that some of the posts that I share there will help you in your own journey. Okay, that is it for this video. Again, let's make 2022 our year of health, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.